We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 1989, and today we are talking about why we never buy property that's for sale, like property on the MLS or anywhere else. A little later in the episode, we talk about why focusing on one single area to buy and sell land really works. Works for us, actually.
You know, it's funny. Every now and then someone will be on the our weekly member call, and maybe it's even a guest or something. I don't know. And they'll bring up a property, and they're like, "Oh, and here's the listing, and I got it for this." And our immediate reaction is, "Nope, out. Sorry, someone got there first." You know. And then my other thing is too. I know we'll talk more about it, but if I have to say, look, everyone. If it's not selling right now, what do you think is going to be different here? There's something wrong, and we'll discuss it more. Sometimes you can solve that stuff, but my initial reaction is nope.
This is a very, very important topic.
Yeah.
Here's a little spoiler topical, alert. 80% of this business happens long before Jill gets the phone call from the seller. So yeah, it's a lot easier just to go on the MLS on Realtor.com or Zillow and say, I think that's undervalued. I'm going to try to buy it for cheaper. You're just missing the whole entire point. But you're right. How
much harder is that?
Every Thursday, yeah, you're setting yourself up to. If I said it's 2024 and my new business model is to make offers on property that's for sale, wow, I would be out of business by June.
Well, you'd be working 10 times harder than you are right now. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. That would be
buying
funny.
For sale property.
This is it. Land Academy 2024. Stop mailing. Just pick up the phone and call everything listed.
You know what? We need to stop talking about that. We both have so much to say.
I know. Okay, we'll get to that. This is good.
Each week on the show, we answer questions from the Land Academy member Discord forum. We review land acquisitions from our weekly member webinars, and we take a deep dive into 2 land-related topics, usually by popular requests. Jill, let's take a look at this question.
Okay, so Dan wrote, I found a stash of signed purchase agreements I set aside from 2 years ago, and I never acted on them. Since I've learned so much since then, I now feel comfortable doing the deals. I started calling to see if the people still wanted to sell. The first lady I called said she received several other offers, some even higher than my offer, but I'm the first person to actually call her back. So the deal is on after 2 years. Isn't that amazing?
If I was...
I love it.
I honestly think we should read this again, but I'm not going to put the listeners through it or Jill through it.
Dan's from Career Path.
That's how important this is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lady for 2 years has been receiving offers on her land, probably been signing them and sending them back. Mm-hmm. This is the first time that anyone has called her back, yep, including Dan 2 years ago when she signed it.
Yep.
So what's the takeaway from this? If you're a corporate salesperson who's undervalued, every corporate salesperson I've ever met is undervalued. Remember the story about you? And when I met Jill, she had a corporate sales job.
I did.
And she worked from home. This is a lot of years ago, more than a decade ago. A lot more.
Yeah.
And I'm listening and watching her. And then, so around the 15th of every month, she'd say, I hit my numbers. We're good. Or maybe sometimes even like the 10th of the month. And so I'm going to kind of sandbag and chill out, and whatever you want to do for the rest of the month, I'm paraphrasing, we can go do it. And so I'm sitting around, and I had this light bulb moment, like, first, let's calculate how much money Jill's making for these people that she works with. And it was staggering. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And then the second light bulb moment I had, which was weeks later, was, well, what if we bought and sold land this way? And here we are. And so every corporate salesperson I've ever known, including most really good real estate agents, aren't getting paid, what they're worth. A really good real estate agent makes $100,000 to $200,000. I don't mean the smash it out of the park ones. I mean a good one. Mm-hmm. $100,000 or $200,000 a year. I'm not afraid to tell you, Jill makes that, a little bit more than that every month. So you are undervalued if you're in corporate sales. Think about buying and selling land. Dan's a perfect example here. A very good example. He's probably more of a Jack. We know Dan because of career path. Probably more of a Jack than he is a Jill, and I guess he's calling people back now.
Yep.
Today's first topic, why we never buy property that's for sale. Jill's dying to talk about this.
Somebody got there first. There's an agent involved now and a commission involved, and it's all messed up. How about that?
They're making a mess.
It is. And sometimes too, it's like it could be so much of a mess. Now because if they listed it all wrong, let's just say it's a great property, but this agent has listed it wrong, the pictures stink, and it shows, 297 days on market with 42 views, and 1 save. Now it's got a negative stigma attached to it too. Like they have really, unfortunately, made a mess. So sometimes you can undo that mess, but I choose not to. I'd rather buy the property next door from the lady who got my offer, and we're ready to go.
I have this little video that's been playing in my head. It's a very short video, maybe like 30 or 40 seconds, that's been playing in my head for many decades. And it's the scene where somebody receives an offer that I sent, and it's in a stack of mail on a Formica countertop from 1958 in their kitchen, and either the husband or the wife are going through the letters or whatever's in the mail. Like everybody, when you get the mail, there's a big, huge junk mail pile, and there's a pile on the left side with 5 or 6 actual things that you need to look at. And one of them's our letter because you can't tell what it is. So they open the letter and it says, I'd like to buy a property for $32,321.14. The property that you're never going to use again in your entire life and probably shouldn't have bought in the first place, or you inherited. Oh yeah, that one. I forgot we own that. I wonder who's been paying the taxes. One of the spouses goes to the other one and says, we should sell that property in Nevada because we live in Massachusetts. And then they both have the little look at each other and a light bulb goes off.
We can take
and
that
they
cruise.
Said, wait a minute. Someone's going to pay $35,000 for that piece of property. That is the moment that the deal starts.
Right.
They decided it, not us. When people list their property, they decide because of 23 things that happen, or their sister-in-law just became a licensed agent, or some weird stuff that doesn't matter to us as buyers. They decide they're going to list their property on the MLS, and that's when their problems start. We're solving that little reel that I just described. We're solving that problem really quickly and efficiently. The other way, they're deciding. We created that decision process or instigated that decision-making process instead of the other way around with the real estate agent way.
True.
Our way's better, especially if one or both of them are savvy and they call back and say, I love the idea of selling the property. We talked about it, but I probably need a different price. And that's where Jill takes over and she creates her own real estate deal. She doesn't. If we called on the MLS on a piece of property, we're just dealing and managing somebody else's real estate deal that's probably from the beginning not rooted in data or any of the stuff that we actually are good at. Mm-hmm. It's rooted in emotion and, just go out on Zillow or on Realtor.com and look at the way property's listed and the lack of care and just the general... I don't know what the right word is, but it's not professionalism.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, I'm looking on the MLS when I'm picking a broker, though, because while I don't buy property that's on the MLS, I sure do sell property.
Because it's your deal now.
On the MLS, exactly.
And Jill knows how to do deals.
I control it. So I'm out there looking for brokers in areas that I'm, working property and things. So, and you can see, like Steven just said, some of these listings are terrible. I don't even know where the property is. Great. I just see a big picture of a field. Is the whole field mine? Look where the woods start. Is that mine too? I don't know. There's no outline. There's no care. Oh, I hate photos like from, I feel bad for people too, by the way. I've seen so many things on the MLS that people have really tried to find a good agent and list their property, and it's someone driving by on a cell phone and they use those photos in the listing. I'm like, really? How about even the exterior? We don't even know what like maybe it's a house. I've seen house listings where they don't even picture, we don't show any exterior or a bathroom or this. Little bit concerning. It's kind of funny.
Let me tell you an anecdotal story about buying property that's already for sale and why I shouldn't do it. Jill and I made friends with recently somebody who's very successful in commercial real estate and much older than us. And he asked me what we do. And of course, I go down the path of this is what we do. We buy and sell land. And he's like, oh my God, that's awful. And I said, no, it's really profitable. And here's why. We look at data from a certain zip code or a certain area. We already know who owns every single property. We send them an offer and we sift through the offers and
pick the ones we like.
Exactly. And I said, well, how do you do it? And he said, well, I only buy commercial real estate that's been on the market for less than 14 days. So when it says on that listing, if it's 15 days, we don't look at it. If it's a year and a half, we certainly don't look at it. That's it. He's still buying for sale properties. So then I said, and this is maybe not completely sober Steve talking back then. Then I said, well, what if, just for fun, you identified all the properties that are within your acquisition criteria. These are commercial properties now with tenants in them. And we sent a mailer out to all the people who own the buildings, and we offered a certain amount that we calculated that we know is a little bit below market. But what we're trying to do is separate the people who really want to sell it for circumstances, not for money. And his first response was this. Well, then the people this is a very wealthy person, by the way. Then the people who would get the offer would be the tenants because you're sending it right to the building. And that's when I stopped.
Oh, he didn't understand that.
He didn't understand that you send it to where
he doesn't understand situs address and tax address.
And tax address.
Oh.
This is a very, very wealthy, very established real estate person.
That's interesting.
That, Jill and I know socially.
Oh.
So I could have gone on and said, no, wait a second.
You're
and 10 years ago, I would have. 10 years ago, I'd have explained what the difference between situs address and assessor address is.
Mm-hmm.
Without success, by the way.
Where the tax bills go. Because the tax bills don't go to the tenant.
Because let's say this person and everybody else let's say this person actually died, where their mind was open enough to digest that concept. It's very foreign to people. We had the same exact conversation with a bunch of very successful business people who didn't understand this concept. So please, this is the takeaway from this. We are creating this real estate deal.
True.
Joe likes to say we got there first, but the fact is, it's that light bulb moment in the Formica table kitchen where two people have where they say, I do want to sell this property and I don't want to go through all the hassles of it. So I'm going to call Jill and Jill's going to make them fall in love with her and we're going to get the deal done. So we're creating the real estate deal. We're not reacting to someone else's freaking real estate deal. Mm-hmm. When is it better to react to a situation versus be proactive about it and create it and manage it yourself?
Yeah.
Never. You should never buy for sale property and never, I would go so far as to say I would never even, if somebody called me, and this is how we used to do it with when I started in real estate, if somebody called me with an off-market deal, air quotes, that's just as bad because they already had that. The light bulb moment happened.
Right.
Private equity groups have cut their teeth for a million years on off-market deals. When you really think about it, before the MLS and before real estate deal agents, every deal was off-market. So when people are sitting around saying it's really harder to find deals now, yeah, the prevalence of the MLS online made it harder. There's multiple, if you look back in time, real estate agents, before you even got licensed, they weren't even real estate agents. They were just busybodies. This is when they added real value. Real estate agents, before they were agents, was some busybody. Maybe it was the mayor of a town. And they heard that Sally Smith, whose husband just died, wants to sell a ranch. And the guy who just sold all of his cattle's got a bunch of money. So let's put these people together. Maybe I'll take a small fee. The guy who sold his cattle is going to buy the ranch, and on and on and on. So that's real value. I would argue we provide amazing value, versus a real estate agent is just getting in the way. They're standing, sometimes physically standing in the way of a buyer and a seller in their land, and grasping at everything to keep a deal together that probably should have never been priced that way in the first place. And 2 years go by because it's overpriced and the pictures weren't taken right. This happens all the time.
Thank you.
If I sound angry about it, I am.
I know. I just let you go. Hey, let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday closed member webinar.
So we're doing Widget of Steel, Pinal County, Arizona. We have 4 properties, five acres each. So 20 total for $73,000. I already have an opinion.
So acreage, let's go through it. They're 5 acres each. That's good. Everybody loves 5 acre properties. Access, probably. This is Rita Ritter. Chances are these are
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
There we go.
Chances are there's access here. We don't know though. This road's good. We don't know if it has access there.
That's good.
So access, not sure. Probably though. Accepted offer price, grossly unacceptable. Adjacent, and this is where I was lost right when I pulled it up. Where you lost me, I should say, is there's just nothing happening. Joe pointed out there's a house here or some structure.
And there's one right there, but.
So I'm pretty familiar with this area, pretty familiar with all of Arizona. And I would probably pay $100 to $200 an acre here and sell it for $1,000.
That's what I'm
So
thinking.
retail for these properties is $5,000. So I would pay not $1,000, max $1,000. And then Joe would probably not even let us, she would say no.
This is a comp that I would price it on 100%, Jason. So we've got 20 acres. So if 80 acres sold for 50, right? What's 20 acres is a fourth of that. So I'm going to sell mine for 18, 19, 20.
That's retail.
So now I got to buy them for 5.
For half of that.
Thank you very much.
Out of frustration, like most things, Jill and I, many years ago, couldn't get the service and couldn't convey our message about what we did with the direct mail to a commercial printer. They certainly didn't understand the mail merge process and the black and white process, the lack of color, in the mailers that we were sending out. So we started our own company. And, like everything, you don't know how it's going to happen, but geez, it turns out the vast majority of the people in our business were having the same experience with their commercial printer. So that's all we do. Jill and I started offers2owners.com, and we didn't look back from there. We can process your mailer and get it. We probably process between 500,000 and 1 million mailers a month successfully, very successful. We have our customer retention rates approaches 80%.
Yeah, give them a call. It's offers2owners.com. And you can just say, talk to me. I need to know what's possible. And they'll tell you. They could do darn near everything. You're like, I don't have access to data. Well, don't worry. We can pull it for you.
Yeah.
What do you mean you have data tree? Yeah, we can pull the data tree data for you. You don't have to be anything. If you're just like getting new, you're just in this and just getting started. And like, I don't know yet if I'm all in, they'll do it for you. They'll pull it, they'll scrub it, get comps for you and serve it up on a platter for you to, and pop it in the mail. Like I said, dream it up and give them a call.
Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community.
Okay, so this is from Clay. Clay wrote, this may have already been addressed in past episodes, but I'd love to hear how you go about training someone to take a call / be an acquisition coordinator. It would be our first hire, and it would be helpful, but we would like to hear you create a clear and repeatable business process for someone to know what they need to do. So are they asking to basically hire and train someone to do what I do?
Yeah. And they want a clear and repeatable process.
Okay.
I put this in here
What's so quiet?
snarkily.
Oh, I'm like, well, I have a job, so I'm sorry, Clay. I don't have a job, but you know what I mean. But you know what? I've done this.
This is like asking if, hey, you guys, can you explain the clear and repeatable process for raising children
That's kind of good.
with a positive outcome every time?
Well, I have a different perspective. Let me just say this. You know what, Clay? It starts with the right personality.
Yep.
First of all, you're going to have to find that person. And trust me, I know this is very, very, very hard. I had one person one time on our staff that didn't work out because I found out they were missing calls on the weekends. And their answer to me was, I don't work on the weekends. Excuse me? So this environment, you have to be available when the calls come in. And if you have people that aren't going to do that, then guess what? You need to do that, or somebody else needs to do that. And if you really can't do it, you can get somebody like Pat Live to do that for you. But people have to take these inbound calls. But you're talking about someone to go and be the acquisition coordinator. So I'm guessing see how you take this. This is the person, the calls come in, the letters come back. This is the person that goes out now and creates the deal. They call them back. They're going to get all the information. They're going to use my inbound seller checklist, right? Get all that information down if they haven't already done that, and come up with are you agreed on this number, or what is your number, and create that deal. That is a hard position, and I'm just going to say again, Clay, it might be you, unless you're a gruff person, and I've had those people. I've had those conversations within Land Academy too. I've had to tell people very as politically correctly as I could. I had to say, you should not be on your own phones, because some people can't and they shouldn't. So, I don't know. I mean, what do you want to add about this?
Here's the deal. I've had, before Jill, for years, decades, I had someone in that position, and I never had any success with it unless they had 10 plus years as a escrow agent or an
Sales.
escrow manager. I never had a positive experience with salespeople, and I will tell you this also. And the same is true now. I never had success with anybody in that position. The inbound call taking and the transaction coordinator, sometimes they're the same person if you're real lucky, if they were younger than 40. It's a tough job, and they need to cut their teeth elsewhere, maybe for like First American Title. Those people are historically very underpaid and very undervalued, and they have quotas to fill, and it's usually a mother whose children are out of the house. They're grown up, and they have 10 or 15 or 20 or more years of experience closing real estate deals. And so when you interview somebody, here's the whole key: they should be teaching you about real estate. Even me, they should be sitting down saying, "Oh yeah, that's not how we do it. I do it this way," and we've had a lot of success.
I just have to say, though, I hear you, but for every 100 escrow agents that I have worked with, I would maybe hire one.
I'm sure that's right.
So just because he says that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just going to go get someone that's laid off from an escrow company. Because there are too many escrow people that are over 40 that are such rule followers, nothing will ever get done.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think you're really, more I look
They're
at this
not
now.
scrappy.
this is two separate positions because the person who should take the call, and I don't mean Pat Live, they're taking the call, collecting the information, but the person who creates the real estate deal, which is really the value Jill brings, that's a talent.
Yep.
The person who closes the deal, which is the acquisition coordinator and then resells it, is a completely different talent.
True.
So unfortunately, you don't want to load yourself up with 10 employees to do one deal.
Right.
But they're different talents and it's tough. You know, I will not fib here. Staffing is really, really the largest,
True.
the largest
What we spend the most
disappointment
time.
and issue that it's really interesting because once you find the right people, geez, your life is just beautiful.
Right.
But the path to finding the right people where you really get along, it's just like socially. Once you find the right girl, you know, your life can be glorious. But
Yes, it can.
If you have the wrong girl, and like all of us have had, it's like, man, it's black and white.
I hear you.
You have a great life, and then you have a disaster on your hands.
Thank you.
Well, the disaster is usually first, and then the great life.
Hey, did a lot of people answer this? Did they pipe in there and answer? Did they have some good answers, or was it crickets?
I don't remember on this.
Because I can see a lot of people in Discord saying, "When you figure it out, let me know." I bet that's like a.
I'll tell you what the real answer is, and what solved it for me forever, so I have a happy life now, is partnershiping with somebody who is, takes responsibility for creating a deal and closing it. I never could get an employee to take full responsibility. They were just good at one of those things.
Right.
You know, the first one I'll never forget lied her ass off about everything. And then when it came time the phone started ringing, and it was a mess. It was
How many
everybody
years ago
else's
was
fault.
that?
Oh,
Like
boy.
20?
No.
No, more than 20.
Yeah, like 30.
Yeah. Okay.
It was an absolute disaster.
Again, that's how
So-
long we've been in this business.
So that was my first.
Him.
That was my first example of getting smacked in the face by, somebody who's telling you one thing right straight to your face about what they're capable of,
Right.
and this turns out they're not at all. And then you spend all the money on the mail. You know, Jill and I didn't get here overnight. This didn't happen.
We're not like 2 years.
Huge
we're not 2 year
series.
professionals.
Huge series of failures. Like, I played this game with somebody at the bar recently about every car that you've ever owned. These are people who are like 70 years old. And boy, I'll tell you what, they could reel them off. I mean, they could, without skipping a beat. And I don't think they sat around and thought about it. They really, and so then I started thinking, all right, starting from the beginning, what are the cars that I've owned? And plus or minus 5% accuracy, I can reel them off.
I can too.
But I'll tell you what I can't do, reel off the names of the people that have worked for me, because it's a hell of a lot more than cars and a lot more painful to think about.
Well, that's beautiful. Can we go on to the day's second topic and try to pull us back up here?
Today's second topic, why focusing on one area to buy and sell land works.
Okay, I like this topic. This ties back to what we were talking about, because we were meeting, as we do, and talking about things, and Jack Steven here brought up, like, what's on your mind right now? I said, you know what I've really been noticing? People are we have some very successful people in our group that are really vocal about, we don't like that area, I won't mail it. And I don't like that area, I won't mail it. And I don't know that area, I won't mail it.
That's us, actually.
Right? And they're like, and they're doing great. Some people seem to think that, I need to canvass the whole country here. If I'm going to make this land thing work, I need to get to know every state. Every single person is going to get an offer from me by the time I die, whatever it is. No, you don't. You just need to, if you find an area, or more importantly, it seems to find you, you're like, wow, I connect with these people. I understand what's going on. I got a good team. I got brokers I like. I got agents I like. I can hang out here. Yeah, you can.
This taps into, this is a really important topic. It is for us personally, and I hope you see the value in it. This taps into an article that I read 2 days ago about why the modular housing industry is by and large failing. So when you really just take a huge step back and look at a house being made in a factory, I don't know, 10 models, let's say. Think of a website, there's 10 models to choose from. It's going to cost maybe 30 or 40% of an actual stick-built property on a piece of property, and choose it, you sell it, buy it, and have it installed in the simplest form. So like everything, Palo Alto got a hold of this, and the article was about the sea of failed modular housing companies that are based in the Palo Alto financial backing. And it was all because of this one point, and this taps into this situation. They were not really into houses. They were not really into the process of building the house. They were into raising capital, starting a website, and selling it to people on Wall Street or whomever, but not really actually their souls weren't into it. So Jill and I are in 2 micro markets right now as of 2024. I know, I can tell you, she is rapidly collecting. She's just automatic. Like, we never had a conversation about this, but I'm more I think about it, she is getting to know everybody in the area, whether it's face to face or on the phone. And I can tell you where all the industrial stuff is zoned. This is after about a week of spending maybe 2 weeks there. Not physically there, but just researching. I can tell you what's in zoned industrially. I can tell you where every mobile home park is. I know which properties are for sale and which ones aren't, and why. Mm-hmm. The expensive areas, the cheap areas, and because we're into it. We are land people. Mm-hmm. And so when we focus on one area like this, and then start to contact people, however that may happen, whether it's offers or justifying pricing in this area, price per square foot / price per acre, and then you cross over the river, and this part is a little bit different. We're just built that way. And so focusing on one area for our personality types and where we are in our careers, mm-hmm. really works. We're on the last career path alumni call. There's a guy in the southern part of the country who's just now, he has this in his soul, like many of the career path people do. And he is now asking his employees to take a section of where he's really focused in texting. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean robo-texting or auto-texting. I mean on a cell phone, texting a heartfelt, like, we looked at your property. We know that the north part of it borders the river, for example, and the southern part of this. And we think, we'd love to talk about buying a property. Mm-hmm. And here's why.
That's funny. In my office right now, talk about, like, we dig in. When we get interested in something, sometimes, not everywhere, but there's some areas you're like, oh, and we're going to dig in. I literally went to See's Candy yesterday, and I have 5 1-pound boxes of chocolates to hand out at the county or wherever I need
You have 5 1-pound boxes of candy? I do. Boy, how much does that cost?
I spent $180 at See's yesterday. I'm not kidding. Because there was an extra box I bought from my mom. So yeah, what I did, I spent $180 in chocolate. So I had some gifts to roll around with. Because you know what? I might need to grease some wheels. I'm good with that. So I'm going to get to know whoever I need to know. Yep. Maybe the title company.
The absolute diametric opposite of that would happen, and we have had, and most recently, people in career path who take this approach. And I'm not advocating one or the other, and we've done both. But with our age and where we are in our careers, this second one, the focusing on one or 2 or 3 areas, really seems to be working out for us. I know it is. Mm-hmm. The opposite of that is standing in front of a computer screen, looking at a picture of the United States and saying, by the time I'm done with 2024, I'm going to send out about 800,000 or 900,000 letters and not focus on any one thing, deal with the influx and a massive amount of response that you get in buying and selling property. And that's possible.
Mm-hmm. Both work is what you're trying to say. Both work. Kind of who are you?
Who are you? That's it. Exactly. Well said.
That's great. I know who I am.
Me too. And I used to be the other way, but now I'd rather really talk to people. And
yep.
the second way, here's the deal. The second way you only have to do a few deals a year to make a few $1 million. Mm-hmm. The first way, you're just going to take what comes and just become a deal machine, and I've been a deal machine, and it works great.
That's
you just better put your helmet on.
I think a lot of people don't have the stomach to be a deal machine. That's hard.
I agree.
Uh-huh.
If you want to make a couple $100,000 a year, get to know everybody in your market, or not the market where you live, but choose a market. Maybe it's a market you aspire to, that you vacationed as a kid or something like that.
Lots
Get
of
to know
different ways to
everybody, and
choose them.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It can be fun. Let's take a look at another one of our favorite acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
Hello. I'm very new to Land Academy and diligently following your steps. Awesome. I inadvertently sent lots of offers to buy to zip code 32724 in Volusia County, Florida. I made a $500 per lot offer on 2 1.25 acre landlocked off-grid parcels, trying to kill the deal. My offer is accepted. However, 2 of the owners are deceased and the mother and the father of the sole heir. What documents should I get from the sole heir? Oh,
If the people on the deed are dead, thus the alive A,
2 of the owners are deceased, the mother and the father of the sole heir. Okay, so I'm assuming she's running around saying I'm in the will. Then first check with the county just in case or something. But in a dream world, it was joint tenants with rights of survivorship, and they were all 3 on the deed, and we wouldn't be talking about it. Because then when somebody passes on, it's just automatic. But probably not the case. And I see 2 names here. Then we're going to probably have to get an attorney involved. And this is where you kind of go to now we're getting into buy for 500 self. What if you're buying for 500 to sell for 2,000 and there's $1,000 of attorney fees involved? Now you don't want to do the deal. Based on what we're seeing here too with the actual property, I would move on.
I would move on also. The real question is when you die and you leave, if Jill and I own property together as joint tenants and we both die, just because we have our kids are not going to get the property. There's a ton of stuff that has to happen from a legal standpoint for the property, even if there's a will and all that. The kids need to be, it needs to be in a trust or joint tenants with the kids, or there's all kinds of ways to do it. It's very, very common to see heirs to property, even really valuable property,
And
it's
nobody
in the
can touch
dead
it.
parent's name.
Because the probate's too expensive and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Get the answers that you need. And I would get the answers that I need. And I'm going to stare at a piece of paper and go, all right, now I know, now I have the story. Even if I bought it for 500, what if I could even sell it for this much price? This is how much time it's going to take, how much work it's going to take. And you might go, I suspect you're going to go, not doing it, and open the next one. That's why you're here. We'll help you. This is good.
Jill, you have something inspirational to share after I totally took over this episode.
No, I love it. You know, my thing is, who are you? I love that now. Who are you? Are you the I'm going to blast the whole state person? Because we have those in Land Academy. Or are you like us? Like, oh, I'm going to dig in and get to know everybody in this county. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to make friends and I'm going to shake hands and I'm going to hand out chocolate. I know who I am. I'm the latter. You've done both. You've done it all. I came into, the tail end of the you coming back, you coming up for air from blasting. And back then it was a whole different beast.
Yeah.
You were the only one blasting. People were like, what's this in the mail? Someone wants to buy me land. You could do that? Wow, this is great. So now it's changing a little bit, but it's really just who you are, because both make money. You can survive and do very well on both. I personally like to get to know people because for me, it builds on itself. I have people that I bought property from, and then I get other people call, you know what, my sister owns this and my brother owns that. Wow, how great is that? So you can grow your business that way, which is awesome. And then you talk about, real inside information. I didn't even have to send a mailer out, right? And then I got deals coming to me. So I've had times so for me, it's about getting to know these people and using the relationships to get deals. I have had for years, made friends with land brokers in many states. and because they've done deals for me, or I've just had conversations with them, like, hey, I'm doing some recon in your area. Can you tell me what's going on? And, not even long calls, and we have a nice relationship, and now we're kind of like phone buddies, right? Next thing you know, I'll have these guys calling me to sell me property. Like, hey, this came in. I think this is totally what you do. You want this property? I'm like, and I'll tell them, like, hold on a moment. Why aren't you selling this property? Too small, not my thing. It's yours. And they'll start, and those guys will even give me property. So know who you are and run with it. Who are you? Who are you, by the way? Which way? Because you've done both.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind my asking before I ask your question, which way do you lean?
Well, it used to be that
comfortable?
I would blanket. Well, I would usually look at it by. This is back in the day. I would look in the and when I say back in the day, I was still trying to figure everything out. And we haven't come to some magical point. Like 2025 will be different than 2024. I can guarantee it. How we do things.
True.
But where we are now, it's more. We take more of a personal approach because Joe can spearhead that really effectively, and then I'll back it up with data. But in the beginning, it was all data first, and then we would react to what comes back in and create real estate deals. So they both work. If I had to go back, 25 years, I wouldn't change anything. I think I used to use massive mailers on a state-by-state basis, and then invariably, and this still happens, 1 or 2 or 3 sections of the state will shine. Mm-hmm. You'll get a bunch of deals back. You sell them quick. You find a real estate agent that works, so that path kind of paves itself. This way, we're a little bit older, and I think we can talk the talk, both of us, and we're like a couple, and there's a in-person personality scenario that goes on that seems to work for us. Mm-hmm. So I prefer both. Oh. I think here's a huge benefit to doing it with in person and locally. You can transfer product types very quickly. So if you want to buy houses or mobile homes or even light commercial real estate, mm-hmm. but you're still buying and selling land in the background the whole time, it transitions itself really well to that. It's not often that somebody has a bunch of land they say, and I have this development opportunity because I own these properties over here and it's half built and I'm retiring, and those opportunities kind of present themselves. I've historically said, stay out of that. And I still think that if you're in the land business, you just stay, but we're older and it's just a different situation.
Why do you keep using age? Can we just say experienced? Just kidding.
I don't know.
I'm joking. I'm just teasing.
I think being older is positive. I don't think there's anything negative about it.
Yeah, men say that. How about this? Would you have something that you would like to share?
No, I think that's about it. For the last 2 weeks we've been, actually I do have to say this.
Okay.
It's the end of January. I hope you have some version of a mailer schedule in place. I hope you've sent out mail already in January and you're prepping for February. I hope you have your pipeline where you want it. You should have some stuff in the pipeline, whether they're good or bad deals. You should be reviewing deals. And more than anything, I hope you have your calendar done for the rest of the year about how many mails are going to be sent out, what your goals are for February now.
Equity planner.
And you're on track to making however much money you want. If not,
do it.
Now's not the time to cut yourself down. Now's the time to say, January, I didn't do what I was supposed to do in January, so I'm going to make up for it in February and March, and have a great Q1. Don't beat yourself up.
There you go. I'm going to add one more thing, by the way. By the time this releases, Career Path is open and Career Path hasn't started. Career Path starts on February 14th. So it's Career Path number 9. We are only doing 2 this year, 1 in the spring and 1 in the fall.
Oh, that's good.
It goes from February 14th to April 3rd on Wednesdays. What's Career Path? Career Path is an 8-week intense thing led by us. Every week we spend like 4 to 5 hours together to really take your business to the highest level it can possibly be. Do you have to be a seasoned investor to come into the career path? No, it helps. You do not though. If you have owned a business,
Yeah.
you know, and you have some other life experience, you're like, I know how to start and run things. I just now want to do it as land. Then career path is for you also. So check it out. Check it. Go on Land Academy. Find career path. Just schedule a call. Send a note to my team. support@landacademy.com if you're interested, and we'll have a conversation with you. See if you're a good fit. I only take 20. I limit it to 20 people. And it's amazing. We have several people that have come back and from career path 1, 2, and 3 and later, and then come back like, you guys got me to this level. Now I want to take it to this level. And we're happy to help. I'm excited about it too. So it hasn't started yet. So check it out. And join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information.
And we hope you found our content
buy
valuable, and
undervalued
we appreciate
property.
your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.